Okay, so this is my top 5 useful tools, tips and just general ideas for home building when you're doing any sort of mechanics. So I'm in my little shed, nothing massive, tiny little workshop, can barely fit the bike in and myself. So when you don't have the room for big jack stands and all these fancy tools, there's little tips you can do to make your life easier. As you can see, I've got the engine out, which in this short space is not an easy old deal to do, but we used the tools and tips I'm going to show you now and some other ones. So the first one I'm always going to have with me, and every workshop should have, is offcuts of wood. So I've got my little sack down there. What they do is anything you want, really. So when I drop the engine, I don't have a jack, I don't have a hydraulic lift or anything, so chocks of wood, drop the engine onto that, take them out one by one. Obviously makes life a lot easier. Using them to prop up engines as well. You can make a full-on jig, but my workbench isn't big enough to have that. So yeah, that's number one. There might not actually be 5 here, I've not counted, but number 2, if you are doing any sort of engine work, obviously you've got your valves under here, and you've obviously got your shims in between the buckets and the valves. They're really fiddly, they can go everywhere, it's just an absolute mess. So what I've done is, if you buy a small box from Halfords of electrical connectors, you can take it all apart. If you take out some of the bits, label up inside, so you've got cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, give you a really neat, nice, tidy, organised way to put your valves and your shims so they don't get mixed up, because obviously every valve has a different measurement, blah blah blah. It can get very confusing. Which brings me on to number 3, magnet. I only recently just got this because my life has been an absolute torture without it. Building a race bike, getting the cams out, getting the shims out without a magnet is near on impossible. You spend hours fiddling around trying to get these out because they're covered in oil, they're slimy, they're smooth. It's, yeah, recipe for disaster. So it's literally, you just pull them out and it pulls the shim out with it, obviously being a magnet, and then you just pop it straight into the one you need, and it makes life absolute bliss. So there is that. Another one, probably the last one because I can't actually think of any other ones. Plastic tubs. Now there's benefits to these in every single scenario. The main benefit being is it's just an excuse to eat Chinese. Like, I love myself a good Chinese. The more you eat, the more boxes you've got, the more things you can put in them. I know that sounds like a bit of a hoarding suggestion, but engine bolts for different parts of the engine. Normally I have all my stuff stacked up down there in an organised mess, but if you put them in certain boxes, you can just, it's easy to find them, you know where they are, you know which one goes where, like you can label them and all of that good stuff. I've still not found a good way to organise all of the bigger parts, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, that's, I mean, common knowledge to me and to a lot of people, but there's a lot of people out there that have their own little shed, do this sort of work and struggle when they don't need to. So hopefully some of these tips can get you ahead of the game and make your life a bit easier. All right.